Yeah, this is blood pressure, 10th class circulation, blood circulation. And what is blood pressure? Let us learn here. Okay. Blood pressure, commonly we call it as BP. Everyone knows this. And actually, what happens, how the pressure will be there in the body, that let us learn now. To pump the blood to all the organs of the body, the heart exerts some pressure. That we know, because the heart pumps blood to all the organs of the body. Okay, so in order to pump that, it has to exert some pressure. So this pressure is high when the ventricles contract, because when the ventricles contract, that pushes the blood into arteries. Okay, then automatically the pressure will be more, otherwise it will not enter into the arteries. Okay, so this is high and is called as systolic pressure. Okay, and here that will be 120 mm of mercury. Okay, then the next one is, there is a drop in the pressure when the ventricles refill with the blood for the next beat. Okay, first beat, what happens? The blood from the ventricles will enter into the arteries, and during that the ventricles will have high pressure because of the contraction. Whereas in the second step, there already the blood has entered into the arteries, then the ventricles will be in relaxed mode. Okay, then automatically the blood pressure will be less. Okay, and again the ventricles will refill with the blood for the next beat. Okay, till then they are in relaxed mode, and this is called as diastolic pressure, and this is 80 mm of mercury. Okay, Hg mercury. Okay, and this blood pressure is varied throughout the body. So sometimes the blood pressure of right hand is different from the left hand, and the legs, that is different, like that. So they have taken only one part for consideration, that is upper arm of the hand. Okay, there generally you might have seen the doctors will check the blood BP near the upper arm of the hand. Okay, then the BP apparatus, this is called as sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer is the BP apparatus, and BP is high when we do vigorous work. So when we do exercise and all, or any hard work, then the BP will be high. And if a person has got high BP even in resting stage, then it is called as hypertension. So you might have heard that some people are having BP. BP is high BP. Okay, hypertension, that we call as hypertension. So when the person is in resting stage, even then if the blood pressure is more, then we call it as hypertension or high BP. Okay, then we must know what is low BP. Okay, insufficient flow of blood to the body organs causes low BP. Sometimes this is also very common in very thin people, weak people. There the insufficient flow of blood will not be sufficiently supplied to the body organs, then it causes low BP. And the symptoms here are dizziness, fainting, etc. Okay, and it is also called as hypotension. The previous one is hypertension, high BP, and low BP is hypotension. Okay, and it causes heart attacks, kidney failure, and then strokes, etc. we get because of low BP. Even low BP is also very dangerous, so you must take care of that. You must consult the doctor, or else you have to take good food, then this low BP we can get rid of. Then the next thing is coagulation of blood. So till now we have learned the blood pressure. Now let us see the coagulation of blood. That is nothing but the blood clot. The next part of blood is coagulation of blood. Coagulation is nothing but the blood clot. Okay, during an injury, blood flows out. We experience this. If an injury is there, then continuously the blood flows out. Okay, so after some time, we don't see the blood flow. Instead, that will be clotted. Okay, how it will happen, the chemistry behind this coagulation, that let us learn now. Okay, so how this blood clots. The platelets release an enzyme, that is thrombokinase. In the blood, platelets will be there, and these platelets will release an enzyme that is called as thrombokinase. Okay, this thrombokinase, what is the function of this thrombokinase? First, the prothrombin is there, that is already present in the blood. So this prothrombin will be converted into thrombin in presence of thrombokinase. So this thrombokinase enzyme activates the prothrombin, and it will be converted into thrombin. And this thrombin will change or will convert fibrinogen into fibrin. Actually, what is fibrinogen? Fibrinogen is in dissolved state in the blood itself. Okay, this dissolved state of fibrinogen will be converted into fibrin, which is not soluble, insoluble fibrin, with the help of this thrombin. Okay, so this fibrin, actually this is just like a network because it's not soluble in the blood. So this is like a network. Then here the blood cells entangle. So already in the blood some cells are there, blood cells we call, and these blood cells will be entangled to this fibrin because it's just like the network or the thread like. Okay, so these blood cells will entangle to this fibrin. Then that is nothing but the clot. So in clot we can see this blood attached at the edges of the edges and pull. Actually around the injury, around the wound, we can see the blood cells will be entangled and they will be attached at the edges, and then they pull, and so that that will be gathered at the center. That's why we see the blood clot just like a lump. Okay, this is because of the attaching at the edges and also pulling towards the center of the wound. So this is blood clot. Then next one is serum. What is serum? The yellowish straw-colored fluid part after clot is serum. So after the clot, around that we can see some watery substance. This will be in yellowish straw color, and this is fluid part of blood itself, and this is serum. Okay, so after blood clot, whatever liquid form we can see on the wound, this is nothing but the serum. Then next role of vitamin K in blood clot. In blood clot, vitamin K plays very important role, and how it plays, what is the role, that let us learn now. Okay, vitamin K, actually group of fat soluble proteins are there in vitamin K. Vitamin K is nothing but group of fat soluble proteins. Okay, these fat soluble proteins will synthesize certain proteins required for the blood clot. So for the blood clot, some proteins are required, and these required proteins will be synthesized by the fat soluble proteins which are present in vitamin K. Okay, vitamin K is nothing but the fat soluble proteins which synthesize some proteins which are useful for the blood clot. So like this, for blood clot, vitamin K is very important. So what is the role? So they allow to bind calcium ions. Okay, the calcium ions will be bound with the help of this vitamin K, the proteins. Then see, low percentage of vitamin K leads to uncontrolled blood flow. Sometimes the vitamin K percentage of vitamin K in the blood will be very less. Then that cannot allow the blood clot. So the blood continuously will flow, and then we get some disease that is called as hemophilia. Actually, in olden days, this would be seen in royal families. That's why it was also called as royal disease. And hemophilia is nothing but continuous flow of blood from the wound or the injury. That's why the patient should not be faced to this problem continuously in order to stop this hemophilia. Okay, then actually why it will happen? This is because of the marriages between close relatives cause this problem, hemophilia. Okay, so this is about blood.